I had come across a half-buried, cracked with age, tablet buried in the sand. As I cleared of its face, the letters etched into its surface became visible. The sign read, "The City of Three Suns." I asked myself, was this the city of Triopolis? Lost forever for thousands of years, is this city one and the same? As I forged onward across the sand, it seemed like forever, but I wasn't giving up. Then let's finish what history started. There's a cave just ahead. Let's go. A new adventure awaits. The rope bridge creaked as my boots descend into the mouth of the cave. Local legends called this place Whispering Caves. These caves always give me the creeps. Carvings on the walls, what does it mean? I was told they were clues to a lost civilization. City of Triopolis, the three-crowned city of gold. I reached the entrance to the cave. My first steps echoed off sculpted walls, clearly man-made. There were relief carvings, looking like obelisks, a three-sun crest, and figures bearing strange circular objects. The first chamber opened before me as the first trap sprung. A stone tile pressed down beneath my foot. I threw myself forward just as poison darts passed by where my head would have been. That was close. I looked back. The darts struck the far wall, and a raised pedestal emerged. I looked closer. It was one of the artifacts. The Lens of Dawn. I pocketed it and kept moving. As I continued, there were strange statues on either side of the cave. They seemed to be wise men of long ago. The next passage was long, lined with statues of armored guards standing shoulder to shoulder. Their stone eyes seemed to follow me. Halfway down the hall, my foot caught on a raised ridge. The statues snapped to life and attacked with massive axes. Timing was everything. I dashed forward, heart pounding, slipping between the sweeping blades. When I reached the end, a small alcove revealed a bronze coil. It was another artifact. The spiral key, a bronze coil etched with triangular markings. As I walked, the cave seemed to disappear and led me to an underground lake. A stone platform appeared through its still surface. Carved above it, a sign, "Only the airless may pass." Then I saw a faint glow under the water. I jumped in. My lungs tightened as I followed the faint glow, reflected from a pocket of air embedded in the rock. I saw the most beautiful stone I ever seen. It was another artifact, the tidal heart, a smooth blue stone pulsing faintly. I surfaced, gasping for air. I walked into another passage. As I walked, the cave was getting hotter and hotter. The chamber shook with a roar of flames erupting from the floor in towering plumes. Pattern of metal plates forms a path. Step on the wrong one, and I'd be ash. Using Lens of Dawn, I refracted the plates. Symbols appeared, safe ones glowing faintly gold. I was careful jumping between symbols until I reached the far wall. There it was, the fourth artifact, the Ember Crown, a circlet of red gold metal that shimmered like living fire. With the four artifacts in my pack, I expected an exit. Instead, the tunnel opened into a hidden valley, flooded with sunlight. As I walked through the tunnel, lost city of Triopolis appeared. White stone towers spiraled skyward. Golden domes glinted in the sun. Banners fluttered between colossal archways, and people walking the streets as though the centuries had never touched them. A robed figure approaches me. "The cave has been testing you," he said. "But there's one artifact that still remains. Without all five, the Triad Seal cannot be restored, and our story cannot be told." He brings me to the temple. He tells me about a cursed mirror. Its reflection jumps out at anyone who looks at it. He showed me the mirror. As I walked by, I looked back, and my reflection jumped out of the mirror. I turned to see, but as I reached for my reflection attacked. The battle was fast. I raised the Ember Crown, and the reflection dissolved. I had found the last artifact, the Mirror of Truth. The mirror wasn't cursed anymore. Paintings on the wall show the city's lost history. from its rise and disappearance. The people watched in awe. The elder thanked me for completing the picture. I had restored what they lost. Then came the final question. Did I find the artifacts for Triopolis or for myself? The people looked at me with hope, not fear. Their society, though ancient, was peaceful and thriving. Should I take the wealth and vanish into history or return the artifacts? If I stay, I would become the guardian of their reborn legacy. Then I saw her. In the midst of the crowd, she appeared once again. I first saw her in the crowd when the Triad seal was ignited. She watched me, curious, steady, and deeply alive. A woman with dark, silky hair, eyes of blue over desert sand, and a confidence that made the chamber itself seem smaller. I gave her my hat. Later, I would learn her name. Celine of the Fifth Sun, daughter of the city's keepers. When the elder asked me to choose between treasure and service, her gaze met mine, not pleading, not demanding, just waiting, wondering who I really was. And in that moment, something inside of me shifted. Gold was gold, but she was my destiny. I placed each one of the artifacts into the seal's waiting sockets. The lens of dawn, the spiral key, the tidal heart, and the ember crown. As the mirror of truth clicked into place, the Triad seal was knitting itself for the first time in centuries. I could hear cheers through the chamber. Celine smiled, a smile that made returning a kingdom took nothing at all. The elder bowed his head. He said, "Thank you for giving our history back." He asked, what was my desire in return? In your city, I said, is marriage only granted to those who belong, those who give more than they take? Celine stood beside me and said, "Do you understand what you're getting into? It's a promise to our people and to me." I said I'd survive collapsing caves, traps, and my own reflection. I think I can handle honesty. As Celine walks off, I can hear her laugh. Quiet, warm, and real. My trial was not that of strength. I had to show my heart. The mirror of truth was before me. I approached it, placing my palm on its surface. Images flickered. My past, my battles, my courage, my loneliness. The elder proclaimed, "The mirror finds no deceit." The seal is restored. The mirror pulsed once and went still. The elder turned and said, "The outsider speaks truly." Celine turned and smiled with joy. As I turned, Celine stepped forward, her expression softening, and said, "Then I choose him as well." Rituals of the wedding are performed when a new heart-bearer rises. The wedding ceremony takes place in the Hall of Echoes. Elder motions us to come forward. Celine and myself approach anxiously. Two paths become one, Elder said. As Triopolis rises anew, so shall your bond. Elder is pleased and gives me the Triad diadem. Celine walked towards me. When she took my hand, the crowd fell silent. "This is where your journey brought you," she whispered, "but not where it ends." I kissed her under the three suns of Triopolis as the city erupted in celebration. I never took the gold. I didn't need it. Because in Triopolis, they gave me a home, a legacy, and a love worth more than any treasure buried beneath stone. I had barely settled into life in Triopolis when the city's peace began to tremble. It started at night. A hum, like the city itself was breathing heavier. Crystal lanterns flickered, though no wind stirred. The golden domes glowed faintly blue. Then the earthquakes began. Just enough to rattle plates. It was just enough to wake us up, with Celine clutching my arm in the dark. The elders had found a tablet beneath the temple floor. A tablet that hadn't been seen since the city vanished. On the tablet there was carved an ancient warning. The tablet reads, "When the fifth sun takes form in flesh, the shadow crown shall rise again." The elder turned to Celine, voice unsteady, and said, "This is no metaphor." The elder said, "The fifth sun is a person. It's you, Selene. Your lineage and birth under the rare trisolar eclipse." "It's me?" she whispered. "The prophecy speaks of me, but it says I don't face it alone either." A stack of dusty scrolls fills the table. As Selene looks on at the dusty scrolls, a secret history was revealed. It told the true story of the city's fall. Triopolis hadn't simply vanished. A tyrant known as the Shadow Crown drew his power that twisted the minds and devoured sunlight from Triopolis and corrupted the artifacts. The Triad Seal was broken. No one could stop him. With the seal restored, his power will regain. He needs someone of the fifth sun to rise again, someone like Selene. She stepped back, trembling. I placed my hands on her shoulders. "He wants to use me," she said. "Then we'll make sure he never gets the chance." A pulse of darkness rolled across the valley. Triopolis shuddered as black cracks spread across the ground. Creatures, twisted stone guardians, once defenders of temples, began clawing free from the earth. I grabbed my gear, my whip from past adventures and the Ember Crown. I was ready. Selene took her staff, its crystal glowing with soft gold light. The battle was chaos. Stone beasts lunged, but through it all, Selene fought by my side. Swift, fierce, and unstoppable. "The fifth sun shines again, and so shall I." "He's awake," Selene says, face pale, as she runs to me. The elders reveal the final piece of the prophecy. "The fifth sun shall rise or fall by the hand of her chosen." I glanced at Selene. She looked back at me. Her chosen was me. I would either help her, or Shadow Crown would twist destiny, using me to destroy her. Selene took my hand. "We go together." "Where is Shadow Crown buried?" Selene exclaimed. "He is not buried," Elder said. "He is imprisoned, and the prison is directly beneath the city, in the Forgotten Levels." The entrance to the Forgotten Levels lay at the center of the city. No stairway, no door, but a shaft. A vertical tunnel sealed by a rotating stone covered in runes. When Selene placed her hand upon it, the stone glowed. A heavy grinding sound echoed through the temple as the disc split apart and slid open. I could feel the cold air, ancient, dusty. Selene squeezes my hand, and we decide to go down. At the bottom, a stone corridor opened, carved with the symbols of the three crowns. "Someone else has been living here," Selene said. "Stay close." As we gone deeper, we came to the first labyrinth, the Spiral of Echoes. We entered a vast hall with walls etched in spiraling patterns. At its center stood a stone column, carved with circular grooves. Suddenly, the grooves began to rotate, as if something beneath the stone was breathing. My torchlight warped, bending around the spirals. Then the echoes began. My own footsteps returned, sounding closer than they should. Selene frowned. "This place distorts sound," she said. "It confuses intruders. I need to use the spiral key." Selene turned the central column. The spirals were aligned, and the echoes were gone. Selene breathed a sigh of relief. "The next chamber is just ahead," she said. The Hall of Balances. The chamber contained a narrow stone walkway suspended over a bottomless chasm. The path leads to a doorway. There were floating stones engraved with shifting patterns. One misstep would tilt the walkway and send us plummeting. "They're illusions," she said. "If you step on one, you'll fall." Selene decided to use the lens of dawn. Light refracted into three beams, splitting across the illusions and revealing their true shapes. "Stay with me," she said. We crossed together, careful and slow. At a final step, Selene slipped on the stone walkway. I caught her wrist. My grip was the only thing from keeping her from falling into the void. Her eyes met mine, terrified, trusting. Her forehead touched mine. "Don't let go. she whispered. Never. We came to another hallway. The Serpent Hall. This room was long, tight, and lined with carvings of serpents. Their eyes were empty, but felt alive somehow. Celine suddenly stopped and said, "Do you hear that?" Then the carvings moved. Stone serpents detached from the walls, their bodies breaking apart as they slid toward her. Celine raised her staff with a golden light flaring, pushing several back, each one broken but reforming itself. "They regenerate," Celine exclaimed. "They can't be killed." I grabbed her hand and we ran toward the far door as serpents closed in from every angle. They surged around our legs, snapping, twisting. She threw the tidal heart at the doorway. Its pulse rippled outward. The serpents disintegrated into dust and did not reform. Then we reached the Gate of Shadows. A warning, a promise. Cold mist seeped from the cracks. Celine stares at it, fear flickering in her eyes, and said, "This is it. Beyond this door lies the second level. It's the first chamber of the Shadow Crown. Don't worry." I brushed my hand across her cheek and said, "Then we go together." Before Celine touched the gate, a low, resonant voice echoed from the other side. "Do you hear that?" Celine says. "Shadow Crown already knows we're here. Stay close." Then the Gate of Shadows rose before Celine, cold, chained, impossibly heavy. The mist came in reaching for her ankles. Celine stood still, her hands trembling. Something the prophecy never spoke of. The fifth sun. The mist wasn't attacking her. It was responding, like recognizing royalty. And then the voice from beyond the door returned, deeper this time, saying, "So the air awakens." Celine holds on to me as the voice cracked through the chamber. "I never felt fear like I feel tonight." Celine gasped. "I see him, the Shadow Crown. He's trying to speak to me." "Fight it." "I can't," Celine said. "I can hear him and see him because his power is in me." My blood turned cold. The fifth sun is only half of the prophecy. The other half is the power that sealed him away. I am that power. It's waking up because we're near his prison. Her voice trembled, her pulse pumping. I can sense the walls of his cell, the cracks, the places. It's like we're joined together. I held her hand. "Celine, look at me. Don't be afraid. I'm right here." "The power, so strong," she whispered. "For how long, coming from me?" The gold in her eyes pushed back the violet. Then light exploded from the palm of her hand, so bright I had to cover my eyes. What was happening to her? Celine stared at her own hand in disbelief. What was that? The fifth sun's power was awakening, whether Celine wanted it or not. Celine touched the gate again, but this time she didn't recoil. The metal melted under her fingers. The voice inside laughed softly. "Yes, use it. You cannot deny what you are." Celine's eyes widened with horror. "He wants me to use my power," she said. I grabbed her hand and pulled her back. "You're not doing anything for him." Celine said, "No, you don't understand. The fifth sun isn't just light. It's a balance of both light and shadow. Its power is meant to bind him, and it's inside me." "Then you need to use it to stop him," I said. "What if I open the prison instead? Then we will control it together." "I trust you," she whispered, "more than I trust myself right now." She stood, steadied her breathing, and held out her palms. Gold light gathered in one hand, shadowy violet in the other. The two energies crackled violently where they met, fighting, twisting, pushing her backward. The lights merged into a brilliant white flare. The chains on the Gate of Shadows shattered into dust. The mist recoiled completely, screaming as it fled into cracks in the stone. Celine collapsed, saying, I did it!" "You did more than that," I whispered. "You awakened the true fifth sun." As the last chain fell, so did the final seal on the gate. With a deep rumble, the massive iron door began to open. Two glowing eyes staring at us. We walked through the corridor with fear, trembling as the violet light flickered from the crack in the door. But instead of rising to fight, the Shadow Crown's voice drifted out. I was in another chamber. Heir of the fifth son, do you truly know who you are? The voice said. Celine stiffened. I am the daughter of the keepers. The voice chuckled. No, you are mine. I stepped in front of her. Don't listen to him, I growled. It's the Shadow Crown. The Shadow Crown voice echoes. Runes on the walls flare to life as he tells the story. Shadow Crown tells of a woman wearing the crest of the fifth son. Her eyes, one gold, one violet. That's the last fifth son queen. The one who vanished during the Shadow War, Celine said. The Shadow Crown's voice echoed. Almost found? Vanished? No. She surrendered. The fifth son queen knelt before the Shadow Crown. I felt Celine's nails dig into my arm. She served him, she said. She was my consort, my equal, my love, and bore my child, born of light and shadow, said the Shadow Crown. Born to rule with me at the dawn of a new age. Your ancestor. My wife swayed, her breath shallow. No, no, that can't be true. The keepers always said, the keepers lied, the Shadow Crown hissed. Your mother's line was hidden to protect you from prophecy. They feared what you might become. I looked at Celine. You are not him. Then her hands started to glow. Gold on one side, violet on the other. That explains everything, she whispered. My visions, my dual power, she said. That's why the artifacts responded to me. I'm his descendant. Your ancestors fled me, child, and in doing so, they doomed Triopolis. But you can finish what your mother began. The gate opened another inch. Violet light poured out, bathing the chamber. Celine flinched as her own power spiraled up her arms. The Shadow Crown said, You were born to rule beside me, child. Not beside you, I said. She's not yours. The voice darkened. She is of my blood. You are nothing. Celine's eyes widened, like coming out of a trance. No, she shouted. It can't be true. I might carry your shadow, but I'd choose my own life. Her power burst of white light, so strong the gate slammed shut again, sealing the crack. Silence filled the chamber. Celine collapsed into my arms, shaking. That's who I married, she said, as her fingers curled into my shirt. Don't let me become him. When we returned briefly to the upper chambers, the elders gazed at Celine's new aura. But one elder, the oldest among them, bowed deeply. It is time, he said, to reveal what we vowed never to speak. He leads Celine to a locked archive beneath the Triad seal. There you find a scroll, wrapped in sun-metal bindings. The elder spoke. Celine is not only the heir of the fifth son, she is the child of the sun and the shadow, a lineage created to destroy the Shadow Crown. The queen did not kneel out of love, the elder said. She infiltrated the Shadow Crown's inner circle to conceive a child whose power could one day seal him forever. My dear, that child is you, Celine whispered. So I wasn't born to serve him. No, my dear, you were born to destroy him. Fear still filled in her heart, but beneath it all, she turned to me. We finished this together. I know who I am now. And as she stepped forward, the true fifth son had awakened. As we entered the hallway of the second labyrinth, the air turned cold. The air grew colder as Celine and myself stepped beyond the sealed archive. The temperature dropped sharply. My breath came out in billowing clouds. At the end of the hallway, a set of double doors stood before us, taller than a house. Each door bore a single symbol, a sun and a crown. Celine touched the sun symbol, and the doors dissolved like smoke. A rush of light and cold greeted us. We entered a room filled with mirrors. The room stretched impossibly wide, larger than any natural cavern could be. Mirrors covered every inch of wall, floor, and ceiling, some tall as towers, some small as my hand. The strangest part wasn't the structure, it was the reflections. My own reflection stared back at me, but not all of them moved with me. Some stood still, some smirked, and some just watched me. Celine holds my hand tightly and says, "This place tests identity. It breaks the minds of the Shadow Crown's followers." Break them how? By showing them what they fear most, the truth. As I walked deeper, one reflection stepped forward, literally stepped out of the mirror, becoming three-dimensional, looking like me, but younger, cockier, dripping with arrogance. My reflection spoke first. "You gave up an untold wealth for a woman you barely knew. You're a fool. You should have taken the gold and run." I cracked my whip. It wrapped around my reflection's arm. But the reflection jerked back and said, "I am still part of you and I still want my treasure," he hissed. My reflection lunged at me. I grappled, dodged, rolled, punching my own face. I finally slammed him into a mirror, shattering him into pieces. Celine rushed to my side. "Are you okay?" "Yeah," I said, catching my breath. "But what about you?" Celine stepped out next. Not one, not two, but three reflections. One with eyes of pure gold, one with eyes of pure violet, and one silent and sorrowful, who looked exactly like her. Her first reflection said, "You are destined to bring hope. If you fear your shadow, you will never rise." Violet Celine hissed softly, "You are our father's heir. Stop pretending you can be anything else." The third Celine whispered, "I'm afraid of both of you." Celine covers her eyes and cries. I snared at the reflections. "If you want her, you have to go through me." But Celine grabbed your arm. "No, this one. I must face. Alone." She lifted her palms, gold light in one, violet in the other. Her hands trembled, her power unstable. Golden Celine attacked. Violet Celine with a wave of crushing shadow. Third Celine simply reached out, whispering, "Trust yourself?" Celine screamed. Her power exploded outward. All three reflections shattered like ice. She fell to her knees. I caught her. "You did it." She shook her head. "I barely held it together. The power. And I'm afraid I won't be able to control it next time," Celine says. "Then I'll control it with you," I said. Then every reflection, hundreds of them, shifted to reveal the same figure. The figure was not fully manifested, just a shape of darkness and violet eyes. Daughter of light, daughter of shadow. Celine hearing the voice. Celine stood tall, though her voice trembled. She was strong. "I am the fifth son," she said, "and I don't need your approval." Shadow Crown laughed as the mirrors cracked. "The fifth son was created for one purpose, to bind my power with yours." Shadow Crown hisses. The Shadow Crown turns his burning gaze on me. "Ah, the outsider. Do you know your role in prophecy?" My stomach dropped. "What are you talking about?" "The fifth son's heart must be sealed," he said. "Her union with you is the key." Celine grabs my arm fearfully. "What does he mean?" She replies. The Shadow Crown continued, "One path binds me forever, the other sets me free, and only you can decide which." The mirrors exploded in a storm of glass. When the shards fell, the chamber changed. At the far end stood the final doorway, carved with sun and shadow. Beyond it lay the final descent. We face it together, always, as we stepped toward the door. The second labyrinth was complete. In front of us was a carved doorway, sun intertwined with shadows, opened with a deep, resonant groan. As we walked through the door, a breath of ancient air swept across our face, warm and cold, at the same time, as if two seasons existed together. In front of us was a long corridor. Its walls gleamed with crystalline stone. The corridor did not resemble a cave at all, each facet etched with lines that glowed faintly, sometimes gold, sometimes violet. When they were together, those two colors pulsed. A single line of text brightened on the wall as you approached. Celine reads aloud, "The fifth sun shall rise only when the heart is chosen." I frowned. Heart as in emotional or literal? Celine stared at me. Her expression softened. "I already chose you," she murmured. "So what does that mean?" Before she could answer, another line ignited farther down the hall. "The fifth sun's power is unstable unless sealed by the chosen heart." Celine froze. "Sealed? That sounds like magic binding," she finished grimly. "And not the pleasant kind?" She shivered. "But why you?" she asked. "Why not someone from Triopolis? Why not another descendant of the suns?" I noticed another panel glowing behind her. I stepped closer. When I touched the panel, there, glowing in gold and violet, was my name. My heart stopped. My actual, full name, etched in stone for thousands of years. Celine gasped and pressed a hand to her mouth. "No, that's impossible." "Okay, that's not normal. Why would my name be here? I wasn't even born yet. Fifth sun wasn't meant to rise on its own." "Celine says it needs a counterpart, a stabilizer, a guide." "That's not a comforting title," I said. Another line flared behind my name, the Heart-Bearer. "One not of royal blood, but born under wandering stars," Celine says. "One whose path crosses the fifth sun by fate, not lineage." Celine stepped close, her voice barely a whisper. "The Heart-Bearer is you." "Me? The guy who trips over his own whip?" Apparently the universe likes irony. As we leave the Hall of Written Light, we find the true meaning of the prophecy. Only the Heart-Bearer can anchor the fifth sun. Only the Heart-Bearer can silence the Shadow Crown. Only through union can the fifth sun be made whole. I stared. "Union? Like marriage?" She blushed. "That's why the artifacts let me marry you," she said softly. "I thought it was just tradition, but it was prophecy." I rubbed the back of my neck. "So destiny basically says, hey, go date this magical goddess or the world ends." Celine laughed weakly. "I'm sorry?" Then another inscription ignited. "If the Heart-Bearer rejects the fifth sun, the Shadow Crown shall claim her." Celine gasps. "And if he claims me, his power will be limitless." Celine steps close, lifting her chin. "Celine, look at me." "I didn't return the artifacts for prophecy," I told her. "I did it because of you. Because I chose you. And I choose you too," she whispered. "Not because fate demands it." Suddenly the hall shook. A great menacing voice speaks out. The shadow poured down the walls like spilled oil, gathering ahead of you into a towering silhouette. The Shadow Crown interrupts. Every glowing glyph went dim. The truth is revealed. The Shadow Crown leaned forward. "Heart, bearer, your choice will decide the fate of suns. But tell me, will you defy destiny or fulfill it?" The Shadow Crown reached out his hand, stretching toward Celine, just missing her. The hall split opened with a thunderous crack. Shadows poured in like floodwater, dimming the light around us. Celine in fear grabs onto your arm. The Shadow Crown steps into view. We escape just in time. I turned. Shadow Crown attacked first. Not with a punch, not with magic, but with pressure. My knees nearly buckled. Celine picked me up. "Stay behind me," she gasped. I stepped in front of her instead. "Stay away from her," I said. "Would you protect her? Even knowing the cost?" Shadow Crown replied. "Well, yeah." Shadow Crown sheds a slow, terrible, menacing smile on his face. "Then let me test the strength of your resolve," he said. A wave of living shadow roared toward me. My reflexes took over. I cracked my whip, aiming not to strike the darkness but to disrupt it. My whip sliced through the shadow wave, and for a split second, light flickered inside the black mass. Celine gasped. "You dispersed it." The crown's shadow appeared again. He thrusted his hand forward, forming a spear of pure shadow. The spear hit me in the chest. Pain exploded through me like molten ice. But then, a golden pulse bloomed outward. The spear shattered into smoke. Celine stared at me with wide eyes. "You blocked it? But how?" I struggled to breathe. "I don't know." But the Shadow Crown knew. "The Heart-Bearer's seal has awakened," he murmured angrily. "Get away from him!" Celine's voice cracked like thunder. Her palms ignited, one glowing gold, the other violet. A swirling beam of dual energy blasted from her hands, striking the Shadow Crown dead center. He slid backwards several feet, the first time you'd ever seen him physically forced to move. He hissed, "So, the little girl has a bite?" Celine's magic sputtered, flickered, and surged dangerously. I recognized the warning signs of her power flaring out of control. "Celine, stop!" "I'm trying," she screamed. "He's drawing out my shadow side." Her body was fighting itself. I grabbed her shoulders. "Celine! Celine! Look at me!" She trembled. "If I let go, I'll hurt you." The Shadow Crown raised both hands. "This is but a greeting, Heart-Bearer." The vortex surged. Celine yells, "Brace yourself," as the Hall of Written Light blows apart, blasting you both off your feet. Darkness swallowed everything. Celine was crouched beside me, shaking my shoulder. "Wake up! Please, wake up!" My chest burned, but I managed a weak smile. "Still alive?" Celine laughed through her tears. "You idiot! You almost died." Then her expression hardened. "The Shadow Crown tested you. Next time, he won't hold back." I pushed myself up. "Then next time, we won't either." She offered her hand. I took it, and together we walked toward the third descent, the path growing darker, destiny heavier with each step. Our first battle was over. Our real war had just begun. The path narrowed as Celine and myself descended into the deeper caverns. The flickering gold-violet glow from her hands cast trembling shadows across the stone walls. The words still echoed through her mind. "Your choice will decide the fate of Sun. The cost, the seal awakens." Celine sensed my silence and slipped her fingers into mine. "You're thinking about what he said," she whispered. "Hard not to. I'm scared too." The tunnel widened suddenly into a circular chamber. A soft pulsing light glowed at its center. Celine froze. As we walked cautiously, Celine remarks, "This is the Atrium of Hearts." "What's that?" I said. "A place only spoken of in prophecy. The one place where the Heart-Bearer learns the truth." I raised an eyebrow. The chamber held a single structure, a floating heart-shaped crystal. Its jagged, ancient, with two halves fused together, one half glowing gold, one half burning violet. It pulsed in rhythm with your heartbeat. Literally, with every beat of my chest, the heart opens. "What is that?" I whispered. Celine touched your arm gently. "It's the soul-bound heart, a relic from the first fifth sun and her chosen heart-bearer. And you opened it." My throat tightened. "So there was another heart-bearer?" "Yes, thousands of years ago. But he didn't make it." "The heart calls to you," Celine replied. The relic pulsed again, this time stronger. A beam of gold violet light shot from it, hitting Celine square in the chest. I staggered backward. Whoa! We weren't in the cavern anymore. We stood in a memory of the first heart bearer. A battlefield of broken suns floated above you. 3 burning orbs cracked like eggshells in the cosmic sky. A man knelt on the ground, bleeding from every limb, clutching a woman whose hair glowed like Celine's. The man looked just like me. Not identical, but close enough to make my stomach drop. He whispered desperately, "I can't hold it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." The woman, the original fifth son, grabbed his face. "Your heart was always enough," she whispered. His body was burning, literally burning, from the inside out. A final pulse of light burst from his chest. Then he disintegrated. The fifth son screamed. The sky shattered. We snapped back into our own body, gasping, sweating, barely standing. Celine caught me as my knees buckled. "What did we see? Tell me." I stared at her. "He died." "The first heart bearer?" she whispered. His body burned out because he couldn't contain her power. The more she grew, the more it tore him apart. Her hands flew to her mouth. "No, no, then I'm killing you," she whispered. "If our bond grows and I fully awaken, I will destroy you, like it destroyed him," she said. "I can't be the reason for you to die. I'm the threat." I pulled her close. "Celine, listen to me." Celine was afraid even of touching me. "Let me go. I don't want to hurt you." I rested my forehead against hers. "I saw how he died. And you know what he regretted most?" Her lips trembled. "That he didn't get more time with her. He held back because he was afraid. He ran from destiny instead of meeting it with her. We face it together, not apart." Celine fell into my arms, sobbing. "I don't want you to die. I can't lose you." "We'll find a way," I said. "We'll rewrite the prophecy." She looked up. Hope flickered in her eyes. "You risk everything for me?" Celine said softly. "So there's another way. Then let's walk it, hand in hand. The cost has been revealed." As we left the Atrium of Hearts behind, Celine and myself walked deeper into the cavern. The realization of the Heart-Bearer's cost was still going through our minds. Heavy, silent, terrifying. Celine seemed different. Her footsteps slowed. Her breaths grew shallow. Her hands trembled with flickering gold-violet light. "Celine, are you okay?" She didn't answer. Her eyes started to change. Her fingers dug into the stone wall. "It's happening," she whispered. "The more of the labyrinths we unlock, the more I awaken." Her shoulders tensed. I can't hold it much longer." I stepped closer. "What do you need?" She shook her head wildly. "Stay back." If I lose control, I could destroy this entire cavern. I could hurt you. I ignored her warning and reached for her hand. She pulled away. "No, you don't understand how strong I'm getting. I feel everything. The sun, the shadow, the crown's call, the prophecy." Then her hair lifted as if in a violent wind. Raw energy burned around her in crackling waves. A shockwave exploded outward, throwing me off my feet. I rolled across the stone floor, coughing as dust filled my lungs. When I pushed up on my elbows, she floated several feet off the ground. Celine's body was wrapped in spirals of blinding gold and violet. The air vibrated with impossible pressure. Her scream echoed like a choir of collapsing stars. She held her head, saying, "I can't! It's too much! It's too much!" Her magic lashed out in chaotic bursts, slicing cracks in the cavern floor, causing entire pillars to crumble. I ducked under a beam that would have split me in half. I couldn't fight her. I couldn't hide. I had one option. That was to anchor her. I forced myself back to my feet. My chest still ached from the heart's earlier vision, but adrenaline drowned the pain. "Celine!" you shouted. She didn't hear me, or couldn't. Her voice echoed with 2 tones, hers and something older, darker. "Make it stop! Make it stop!" she said. The gold and violet spirals tightened violently around her. She was seconds away from exploding. I had to act. I ran straight into the storm. Every step felt like wading through molten gravity. But I reached her. I wrapped my arms around her shoulders. Her power screamed against my body. My muscles ached. My heartbeat stuttered. But I held on. Celine, look at me. Her eyes opened. Wild, glowing, not fully her. I need to anchor you. Her voice broke. I'm scared. I don't want to hurt you. You won't. I'm here. I pressed my forehead against hers. My heartbeat synced with hers. I choose you, Celine. Not because destiny says so, but because I say so. Come back to me, she gasped. Her hands, shaking violently, reached up to hold my arms. Don't let go, she whispered, terrified. Never. The energy around her flickered, weakening, stabilizing, resisting collapse. Her gold power surged, then her violet, then both, seeking balance. My chest burned with a searing pulse, the heart-bearer's seal responding. Celine collapsed into my arms, trembling. I held her tightly. She buried her face in my shoulder. I thought I lost myself, she whispered. I thought I'd lose you. I stroked her hair gently. You're here. You're okay. We did this, together. Her fingers curled into my shirt. You anchored me, she said softly. No one's ever been able to do that. Not even my parents. She looked up at me. Her eyes were no longer wild but soft. You're the only one who can. I took her hands, and I'll keep being that person every time. Celine was safe for now. The cavern was quiet, too quiet. Celine rested against me, her breathing finally steady, my arms still wrapped around her from the storm she'd unleashed. Just then, a signet appeared on my wrist. It was the anchor bond, warm and alive. Celine traced it gently with her fingers. I didn't know the signet would look like that, she said softly. It's beautiful. I smiled. It suits me. Then the air changed. Cold, heavy. Celine held close in my arms. Do you feel that? I nodded. Yeah, and I think I know who it is. The shadows around the cavern stretched, then twisted, as if pulled by invisible fingers. They gathered into a swirling vortex. A chill crawled up my spine. The swirling darkness condensed into a familiar, towering silhouette. The Shadow Crown. A low voice filled the chamber saying, Anchor Bond, you forge chains you cannot bear. Celine stepped in front of me. Stay away from him. The Shadow Crown laughed. Do you think he protects you, Fifth Son? A protective pulse of gold-violet light swirls round us. The Shadow Crown smiles and says, Ah, so the Anchor Bond awakens on instinct. Let us see how deep it truly runs. Shadow Crown snapped his fingers. A spear of darkness shot from his hand. Not at me, not at Celine, but directly at the signet on my wrist. Pain lanced through my arm as the spear struck. I felt something tug inside my chest, a tearing sensation. Celine screamed. No! She ran just as the signet flickered violently. My vision blurred. Your breath strangled. I felt myself slipping away from her, from the bond, from everything. The Shadow Crown watched with cold satisfaction. When the bond breaks, the heart-bearer's soul collapses. Celine's eyes blazed, saying, Stop. She threw her hands forward. A blast of gold and violet erupted from her palms, a beam so bright it carved a line across the cavern wall. The Shadow Crown blocked it with a single raised hand, shadows swirling lazily around his palm. Child, you cannot fight what you do not understand. Celine trembled, tears streaming down her face. You're hurting him. Please, stop. Please. I dropped to my knees. Celine caught me as my body dropped. My voice barely escaped my lips. Celine, don't let go. She pressed your wrist to her heart. I won't. Celine's power ignited not wild this time, not out of control but focused. Deliberate. Heroic. Her aura exploded outward, forming a circle of swirling sunlight and star shadow, wrapping around both of us like a protective cocoon. Echoing with dual tones, Shadow Crown stepped back. "This power isn't yours, it's mine." Celine pressed her forehead to mine, eyes glowing fiercely. "Hold on," she whispered. "Stay with me." The signet reformed on my wrist, brighter, stronger, unmistakably alive. The Shadow Crown snarled. "Impossible." Celine glared at him. "You cannot sever what we chose." For the first time, I saw something like uncertainty on the Shadow Crown's face. My bond grew faster than expected, dangerously fast. His form flickered, but make no mistake, I will break it. And when I do, the fifth sun will belong to me alone. A vortex swallowed him whole, and he vanished in a burst of violet flame. Silence fell. The cavern stilled. Celine's glow dimmed. She knelt beside me, cupping my face with shaking hands. I managed a weak grin. "Well, he's definitely not coming to the wedding." Celine let out a shaky laugh before collapsing into my chest. "That bond is everything. If he severs it, he severs you." I held her close, but he failed. She nodded into my shoulder. "And he'll try again," she whispered. "Harder next time." I stroked her hair. "Then we'll be ready." Her fingers tightened around mine. "We have to be." As we continued down the cavern, we encountered another chamber. Thinking of all of our trials, we gone. It can't get any worse. We came to the labyrinth that watches. It didn't look like much at first. A jagged rock opening into darkness. A low hum vibrated through our bones, like a heartbeat echoing from somewhere deep below. Celine said slowly, "Third labyrinth," she whispered. "The Cathedral of Echoes." "Why cathedral?" I asked. "This place is like a maze. We could get lost in here." She stepped closer to the wall and laid her palm against it. The stone rippled under her touch, like water disturbed by a fingertip. "I think we're about to find out." As we moved deeper, the corridor began to curve. The walls were covered in faint glowing etchings, pulsing softly in time with our heartbeats. "Wait," Celine murmured. "Do you feel that?" The glow brightened beneath our touch, matching our pulse. "Exactly. This place is alive." Suddenly the walls vibrated. My own voice whispered back at me, "Celine, don't let go." My blood ran cold. From where the Shadow Crown tried to break the bond, another echo drifted through the chamber. "This power isn't yours. It's mine." Celine flushed, hearing her own fury turn into sound. The labyrinth wasn't repeating random memories. It was repeating moments tied to her bond. The deeper we went, the louder they grew, twisting, distorting, layering over one another until the entire cavern seemed to be breathing our past back at us. You shivered. "This place isn't just alive. It's aware." Celine swallowed hard. "That means the Guardian is too." After another turn, the corridor opened into a vast chamber. Stone pillars spiraled, humming, vanishing into mist above a platform, carved with a sun symbol of Triopolis and ringed by ancient glyphs. Celine's voice trembled with awe. "This is the heart of the labyrinth." Then the floor beneath you shifted. The humming deepened, the pillars pulsed, and one by one, the echoes cut to silence. A voice, deep, resonant, filled the chamber. "Heart bearer, fifth son, you should not have come." The mist swirled upward, forming into a massive, humanoid, half-stone shape. The figure formed and stepped forward, towering over us. Its face was smooth stone, no features except two glowing eyes. Its voice echoed through our bones. "I hear your past. I feel your bond," it said. "I know what hunts you." Celine stepped forward, chin raised. "We seek the third fragment of Celestria. We have no choice. Choice is illusion. Bond is truth, and your bond shakes the balance of the suns." I felt the anchor bond flare on her wrist. The Guardian's eyes narrowed. You are the anchor. Without you, the fifth sun collapses. Without the fifth sun, the shadow crown awakens, she said quietly. He failed. The guardian's stone fingers curled. He will not fail twice. It stepped closer, the air trembling with its weight. I am the guardian of echoes. I test not your strength, but your connection. Suddenly, I felt a sudden force push me and Celine apart. Celine was thrown to one side of the chamber, I to the opposite side. She reached toward me desperately. I could no longer see her. I could no longer hear her. Only the echo of your own heartbeat. Its voice reverberated all around you. Find her. Without sight, without sound, without guidance. The anchor bond flickered on my wrist, but refused to glow fully. If your souls are truly one, you will reach each other. If not, the labyrinth will keep what remains, said the guardian. We were alone, completely, utterly alone. Except for the faint, flickering warmth on my wrist, the only link I still had to Celine. Celine was losing her way. Guided by the faint, pulsing warmth of the signet on my wrist, the labyrinth was testing how far we would go. The maze walls began to widen. Celine stepped into a chamber. My chest tightened. I wondering where she was. I called out to Celine. My voice echoed hopelessly. Celine? Only silence answered. Then, a soft thump-thump on my wrist. She was close. So close. I waited and prayed she wasn't hurt. Then the guardian spoke from somewhere unseen. You have arrived first. I clenched my fists. She's coming. She'll make it, I said. We shall see. The echoes whispered all around her. He will not find you. The bond weakens. He's not giving up. He'll never give up on me, she said. The bond pulsed on her wrist, but weakly. She pushed herself forward with a desperate cry. Hold on! I'm coming! Every memory flooded her, and the moment she realized losing you would hurt worse than death. I'm coming, she repeated. Her power surged. A flare of gold and violet shattered the illusions, bending the labyrinth into its true path. Her determination carved the way. I paced the central chamber, each second feeling heavier. I whispered into the silence. The guardian materialized behind me, towering and silent. Anchors do not wait, anchors endure. I'm not leaving without her. The guardian's stone head tilted. Even if she does not arrive? You glared at the ancient giant. She will arrive. The guardian said nothing, just watched. Just then, a gold light flared down one of the corridors. I turned toward it. Celine! She stumbled into the chamber, panting, face streaked with dirt, eyes wild. There you are, she whispered, voice cracking. I ran to her, but something stopped me. No, no, let us through. The guardian stepped between you both. You reached the center, but not together. What does that mean? She whispered. Did we fail? The guardian stretched out its massive arms. Celine shook her head violently. No, no, we came all this way. The guardian's voice softened, not cruel, not mocking, but almost sad. To claim the third fragment, one of you must make a choice. What choice? The guardian points to Celine first. Fifth son. You may take the fragment, but he will remain here, trapped in the labyrinth cycle, an echo between worlds. Celine cries out, No! Then the guardian turns to me. Heartbearer, if you take the fragment, your anchor bond will fracture. Won't break, but weaken beyond repair. The guardian lowers its head. There is no other way. The cathedral demands truth, and truth requires sacrifice. Don't choose me, she whispered. The guardian was waiting for my answer. I choose Celine. I choose you. Always. Her tears fell silently onto the stone. The guardian raised its hand. Between us, a pedestal rose from the ground. Atop of it, glowing brighter than any other fragment so far. I'll take the fragment, Celine said. The cathedral accepted your choice. Celine's fingers hovered above the glowing shard. It pulsed with warm golden light, humming with ancient power. Celine touched her hand against the stone. For a heartbeat, the world was still. Light exploded around her hand. Not heat, not pain, but pressure. Like being pulled through the core of a star, merging, melting, engraving itself onto her skin. Triopolis glyphs spiraled up her arm in golden patterns, winding toward her shoulder. The Guardian watched in silence. A violent shock ripped through me. My knees buckled. I caught my breath. My vision blurred. The anchor bond glowed bright for a single heartbeat, then shattered into two halves. I felt it like a punch to the soul. Not broken, just dimmed, blurred, and distant. Celine clutched her own wrist and cried out. The pain hit her too, like someone had taken a connection woven through both our spirits and pulled it until it strained. Her voice cracked with a kind of fear I had never heard from her. Don't let it fade. Don't leave me. Please. I forced myself to stand. It's okay. I'm still here. She sobbed in relief, but we both felt the truth. The bond was still alive, but no longer pulsed with one heartbeat. It flickered now, fragile and wounded. The Guardian stepped forward, its stone form radiating. You have chosen sacrifice over destiny, the Guardian said. It lowered its head, a gesture almost like respect. The third fragment is yours, he said. Celine rushed into my arms, holding me tightly, as if I would fade from existence. I hugged her back. When the Shadow Crown strikes next, your weakened bond may be the first thing he destroys. We'll fix it, I said firmly. We'll find a way. Celine nodded, though fear still flickered behind her eyes. We have to, she whispered, because if the bond breaks completely, you won't just lose me. You'll lose yourself. The third fragment is ours, but the anchor bond is damaged and the Shadow Crown felt it. The moment we stepped out of the third labyrinth, sunlight washed over us. But peace lasted only seconds. Armor clattered. Boots thundered against the stone path. A group of 6 figures emerged from behind the ridge. Emissaries, she whispered. And not the diplomatic kind. Their leader stepped forward, her eyes locked on me at first. Then Celine. Then she saw the glowing glyphs up my arm. Celine bristled protectively, half-step in front of me, and said, What do you want? I am Commander Lysandra of the Triopolis Solar Guard. We come with urgent message and orders. Lysandra's eyes narrowed. The fourth labyrinth has awakened. A murmur ran through her guards. I exchanged a look with Celine. That's impossible. The fourth labyrinth doesn't activate until... Lysandra cut her off. Until the fifth sun nears detonation. Celine felt her stomach drop. He's accelerating the convergence. The fourth labyrinth has begun collapsing in on itself. What does that mean for us? Celine replies. It means you must not enter it. The fourth labyrinth reacts to possibility and fate, and chooses the one that destroys you. Celine grabs my hand tighter. That's why you don't want him to go? Another guard stepped forward, a scholar mage with luminous tattoos. He spoke softly, reverently. Your bond is unstable. If you step into the fourth labyrinth, it will see the fracture and widen it. You mean break it? The mage nods, completely. A cold shock ran through my chest. The bond is already fragile and won't survive the fourth labyrinth. But Lysandra wasn't finished. She looks at the third fragment now embedded in her arm. If we enter, the Shadow Crown wins? Celine says. Then we'll avoid it. We'll find another way. I wish that was possible, Lysandra says. But prophecy demands that the fourth fragment, the fragment of dissonance, must be claimed before the convergence completes. So, who does enters the fourth labyrinth? Someone whose future is impossible to predict. Her eyes fell to Celine. Celine stiffened. Me? Your existence bends probability itself. You are the only one able to enter safely. Celine looked torn, fear warring with determination. I cupped her cheek gently. Celine, I just got you back. I'm not letting you walk into that place. But she shook her head. You can't go with me. I have to do this alone. For the suns, for Triopolis, for you. Lysandra gave Celine her blessings and said, The fourth labyrinth opens at dusk. The fourth labyrinth feeds on fate. It would kill us both if we enter together. Then I'll wait. Be careful. When she turned to step through the portal, I whispered the lie I told myself to survive. I'll had to let her go. When the emissaries withdrew to their camp, I stayed behind, alone in the valley. I touched the faint glow of the anchor bond on my wrist, the thread of light still connecting me to Celine's soul. Its pulse was weak, but still alive. She was still there. I couldn't let that light fade into the dark. I reached in my satchel for the 5 artifacts of Triopolis. The lens of dawn reveals truth within illusion. The spiral key unlocks paths unseen by mortal eyes. The tidal heart calms chaos, restores balance. The ember crown burns corruption, awakens courage. The mirror of truth reflects what will be, not what is. I risked my life for each one of these. Now they pulsed faintly by my side, almost aware of what I was about to do. I took a deep breath and stepped through the portal. The world twisted around me, time folded. When I landed, I was in a vast chamber of mirrored corridors, each one reflecting endless versions of me. In one of them, Celine and myself were crowned rulers of Triopolis. In another, I lay lifeless at her feet. The labyrinth whispered with 1,000 futures at once. I drew the lens of dawn from my pack. Light split the illusions, turning chaos into clarity. A single path glowed ahead, pulsing faintly with the rhythm of my bond. The deeper I went, the heavier time became. Moments looped, steps repeated. My heartbeat seemed to echo. At last, I found a faint handprint burned into the wall, gold and turquoise energy still flickering around it. Celine's mark. But then, a voice that sounded like my own whispered behind me, Turn back. You're too late. I turned and froze. My reflection stepped out of a cracked mirror, looking older and worn. You shouldn't have come, your reflection said. You'll break the bond every time you choose her. You can't save her from destiny. She's meant to face it alone. I don't believe in meant to. Then you'll die believing. My whip cracked, slicing through his chest, but instead of blood, only light poured out. He vanished with a whisper. The labyrinth will make her watch you die. Then I stumbled into a vast cathedral of fractured stones. At its center floated the 4th fragment of Celestria, a blue crystal pulsing with golden veins. That's when I saw her. Celine stood in front of the stone, aura unstable, whispering, voice trembling. She was surprised to see me. You promised, she said. I couldn't just stand by while you faced this. She shook her head as tears of happiness filled her eyes. This place reacts to love, and you chose to be with me, she said. The labyrinth roared. The mirrored walls shattered outward, flooding the chamber with reflections of every possible version of both of us. In one, we were enemies. In another, she was gone. In another, we were the Shadow Crown himself. Celine's voice broke. They're all real. Every possible end. I grabbed her shoulders. Then let's make a new one. The chamber darkened. The reflections stopped moving. A voice, deep as the void between stars, filled the air. And now I will see every consequence. Celine screamed as the shadows wrapped around her. No! I shouted. I raised the ember crown. Golden flames erupted. Shadow Crown recoiled, hissing as the walls twisted. You cannot burn shadow without losing light, he hissed. I forced my way forward through the storm. Celine floated towards me as our eyes met. I grabbed onto Celine's hand as the storm tossed between sun and void. You can't save me and save yourself, she whispered. You have to choose. I already did when I followed you. The mirror of truth cracked open, reflecting the moment, and showed 100 possible endings. The Shadow Crown screamed. Then share her fate, mortals. A blast of fire engulfed both of us. But instead of dying, I felt the anchor bond ignite, stronger than before. The Shadow Crown's form dissolved into the mist, signifying its defeat. When the light faded, Celine and myself were on the floor, holding each other. The fourth fragment floated above us. We done it. We forged our own future. Celine brushed my hair back, eyes shining. You follow me anywhere? You smiled weakly. Anywhere. She laughed softly through her tears. You broke prophecy, Celine said. Good. Prophecy needs breaking. When we emerged from the ruins, the horizon burned with the dawn of the fifth sun. Celine held the fragment. Only one left, she whispered. I nodded, walking beside her. As we walked closer, we can see Triopolis in the distance, its towers trembling as if the entire city knew what was coming. As Celine and myself came to the city, I took Celine's hand. The bond was pulsing with new life. We finished this together, I said. She smiled, tired but radiant. Together, she echoed. To the end. When we reached the temple, the emissaries were already gathered. The fifth fragment has come alive. I can feel it somewhere beneath the temple. She turned to me. The Shadow Crown won't wait for us. Lysandra knelt beside the Triad seal. Energy pulsed through it, leaking upward into the domed ceiling, like veins of light and shadow intertwined. Lysandra looked up as you approached. We got the fourth fragment, I said, but at a terrible cost, but it was worth it. Her gaze shifted to Celine. The shimmer of shadow in her aura was unmistakable. You are changing, Lysandra said carefully. Half of her burns were like the sun, half like the void. Celine met her eyes without fear. I'm not afraid of what I am, she said. Lysandra sighed. You should be. The fifth fragment reacts only to truth. Celine looked at me. Her voice was steady, but her eyes begged me not to let her do this alone. I followed Celine through the spiral stairs beneath the temple, deep into the foundations of Triopolis. The deeper we went, the louder the hum became, a rhythm like a heartbeat echoing from the core of the earth. Finally, we emerged into a vast cavern lit by rivers of molten gold. At its center floated the final fragment. We stepped forward, every instinct screaming danger. The Shadow Crown wants it too, I said. He's waiting. As if summoned by the word, the light dimmed. The gold rivers turned black, and from the far side of the cavern, a storm of shadows swirled upward, forming into the tall crowned silhouette you had seen in dreams. It was no dream, it was the Shadow Crown. His voice was quieter this time, cold and measured. Heart-bearer, fifth son, you can't have it. The Shadow Crown laughed softly. Can't? My dear child, I am it. The fifth fragment was forged from my heart, torn away when Triopolis sealed me here. I froze. Celine's voice broke. Your heart? He nodded, eyes burning with violet fire. Give it to me, and we will be whole. The heart pulsed violently, as if hearing his voice. His heart, he's calling to me, she gasped. I can feel his memories, his pain. I grabbed her shoulders. Fight it, Celine. You're part of me, child. The Shadow Crown extends a hand. Let me show you. Let me free you from the burden of light and shadow. The heart began to split, gold and violet energy spiraling into two separate halves. Celine screamed. You reached for her. Celine? He vanished, I said. The anchor bond came to life between Celine and myself. It fractured the light hole again. Do you trust me? I shouted. Celine nodded weakly. Always. As I reached for the artifacts, the tidal heart pulsed, calming Celine's raging magic. The ember crown flared, pushing back the darkness creeping into her aura. And, finally, the mirror of truth floated between us, its surface rippling like water. She smiled through her tears. Life, struggle, love. I held out my hand. I'll take all three, Celine, if it means you stay with me. The shadow crown spoke. Celine's heart pulsed, ready to shatter. Celine stepped forward, both palms stretched out. She looked at me. I can't just destroy him, but I can hold him. It'll take both sides, light and shadow. She smiled faintly. It's the only way. But you can anchor me. That's what the heart bearer does. I held her hand. Then we go together. We stepped into the center of the cavern together. The artifacts rose from my belt, circling you both in a spiral of light. Celine's eyes blazed as the heart of Triopolis descended between our hands. The shadow crown screamed as light consumed him, not destroyed, but absorbed. Then, silence. When the light faded, the shadow crown was gone. The heart hovered between us, calm now, shining pure white. Celine collapsed into your arms, weak but alive. You held her tightly. It's over, I whispered. She smiled faintly. No, she said. It's just the beginning. Weeks later, Triopolis stood reborn. Its towers gleamed brighter than ever, powered by the restored heart beneath the temple. The city itself glowed like the sun. Celine ruled as the new keeper of the fifth sun. Not as a goddess, but as a guardian. Every day, when the first sunlight hit the temple, the sigil on the floor glowed. Celine would stand before it each morning, and me, the heart-bearer, remained by her side. Every day, the two of us standing on the temple's balcony, watching the sun rise together. For the first time in centuries, the city was at peace. Celine rested her head on my shoulder. Do you ever think we'll leave? She asked softly. We looked over the horizon, where the ruins met the sunlight, and the world stretched endless beyond. Maybe someday, I said, but not today. You took her hand, squeezing gently. Whatever comes next, I murmured, we face it together. Always. Celine smiled. Always.